Hey guys, how's it going? This is BillyEatWorld here again, back with another DMR review. Today we're looking at the QBU-88, which is statistically one of the most unique DMR weapons. As you may know, the DMRs were recently patched and are now considerably more effective than they were at launch. The QBU wasn't one of my favourite weapons pre-patch, and I've got to say it's still not one of my favourite weapons now. This weapon has quite a few really great stats, but it's unfortunately let down by a few poor stats as well that really affect its ability to perform in a long range role. DMRs are able to drop opponents at range much faster than many of the fully automatic weapons, but this doesn't mean you'll necessarily be taking out targets quickly. The quicker a target can be taken out reduces the time a target has to heal or find cover. Weapons that are accurate, have a fast bullet velocity and a high minimum damage will make the best long-range weapons because they'll land more shots and take less bullets to kill. The QBU-88 unfortunately only ticks two of these boxes. It has the fastest bullet speed in the DMR class at 600 meters per second, which makes hitting moving targets much easier. It's also very accurate with a standing ADS spread of 0.62. Unfortunately though, like the SKS, the QBU-88 has a lower minimum damage than any of the other DMRs. The QBU deals 43 damage out to 8 meters, which drops off to its minimum damage of 34 at 65 meters. What this translates into is a 3-bullet kill at all ranges, but unfortunately if your target is running with the defensive perk at around 40 meters, the damage dealt by this weapon is no longer enough to kill in 3 bullets. This is a surprisingly big handicap because despite more favourable close quarters characteristics, this weapon is still intended for mid to long range use. Getting a 3-bullet kill at long range is hard enough, especially if the target is moving. A 4-bullet kill is much harder again, and in a lot of cases it's almost impossible. The QBU is also let down by an 11-round capacity, which is almost half the capacity of the majority of other DMRs. If you're familiar with the DMRs in Battlefield 3, you might be able to get used to the 11-round capacity, but as the DMRs do less damage than they did in BF3, you can expect to get caught in the reload quite a bit. This also isn't helped by a painfully slow reload speed of 3.9 seconds when empty and 2.65 seconds with a bullet in the chamber. You'll really want to be paying attention to how many bullets you've fired with this gun because it's very easy to run through your 11 rounds and get stuck in the long reload animation. Despite its shortcomings at long range though, the QBU is a little bit better at close range with a higher than average rate of fire of 310 RPM and a very controllable recoil. It's also a bullpup design, which means it's more accurate when moving and it has a better than average hipfire spread. So where is the QBU most effective? Well, it's not really suitable for long range because despite its fast bullet velocity, it becomes seriously handicapped when it reaches its 4-bullet kill. It's more favourable at shorter ranges than most DMRs, but with half the capacity of most DMRs and a high rate of fire, you'll be getting caught on the reload quite a bit. It's also still only a 3-bullet kill at close range, so in CQB you're still going to be outshot by automatic weapons unless you're landing headshots. This really leaves only a very small window at mid-range where it's effective. That being said though, most assault rifles are more than capable of taking out targets just as quick at similar ranges, which makes you wonder why it's worth bothering with the QBU-88 at all. So what attachments work best with the QBU? Well, I'd normally recommend a 1x sight and a magnifier for most DMRs, but in the case of the QBU, I'd probably steer clear of the magnifier because it just encourages you to take on targets at the 4-bullet kill range. The HD33 is my favourite sight for this weapon and is thankfully a pretty early unlock. Firing a DMR is always a risky prospect because attracting attention to yourself is likely to get yourself killed. DMRs are much less capable of dealing with close range targets, so it's always a good idea to try and remain undetected if at all possible. If you only fire on targets that you know you can kill, you'll survive a lot longer. And as the QBU is a 4-bullet kill at over 40 meters, you really should try to avoid engaging targets beyond this range. The laser sight is a good alternative to the magnifier because it further enhances the gun's better than average hipfire accuracy. Hipfiring a DMR at all but the shortest of ranges isn't a great idea, but for those super tight engagements, the QBU-88 is probably the most capable DMR to take out targets with hipfire. The QBU doesn't benefit too much from any of the barrel attachments. The heavy barrel will make the weapon more accurate and won't add too much to its already low recoil, but as the weapon is already accurate enough for mid-range targets, it's really not that useful. The suppressor is also not a good idea for the QBU because it'll nerf the gun's biggest strengths, its high muzzle velocity and its hipfire spread. If you're planning on running a stealth DMR loadout, maybe try a different weapon instead. You'd be better off running with a flash hider on this gun. It's really not much more useful than a standard barrel, but for lack of a better attachment, it's really the only logical choice. The QBU doesn't have an uncontrollable vertical kick, so the angled or folding grip aren't really a huge improvement for this weapon. A stubby or potato grip is probably the best choice for grip for this gun, as they will both reduce the spread increase of the weapon when you're spamming the trigger. Unfortunately, there aren't any attachments that will compensate for the gun's smaller magazine size and low minimum damage. If the heavy barrel extended the damage drop-off of this gun like it did in Battlefield 3, or if DICE added the extended mags attachment for this weapon somewhere down the track, maybe this would be one of the better all-round DMRs. Unfortunately, as it stands now though, I struggle to find a reason to use this gun over other weapons, and I probably won't be coming back to it anytime soon. If you're going to run a DMR, you really can't beat the Mark 11 for long range and the Ace 53 and M39 for mid range. If you're playing right on the objective and expecting a lot of close range targets, do yourself and your team a favour and run with an AR or a carbine. The SKS just barely fills the close range role, and the QBU-88 trails well behind in all range categories. This all being said though, if you do like the QBU-88, please let me know in the comment section below. Maybe you've found a way to make it effective that I haven't, and if so, I'd love to hear about it. But anyway, thanks again for watching. As always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. If you haven't already, please check out my other Battlefield 4 videos. There's a link to them all in a playlist in the description below. And for those of you who have been keeping up to date with my videos, I'm just about through all of the DMRs now. I think I've only got the RFB and the SVD to go. And I'll also be revisiting the SKS and the M39 EMR. So let me know which one you'd like to see next. Or if you'd like me to take a look at something else, feel free to leave that in the comment section below as well. So stay tuned for more updates, and until next time, see you later and have a good one.